What's up, guys? Back at it again. It's the middle of the night. I came out to the shop, middle of the night. It's about, I don't know, 11:30. Came out to the shop with the intention of just cleaning stuff up, getting everything ready for tomorrow so I could just get in and jump in and get after it. And one thing's led to another, and I'm getting ready to rip out the engine and transmission from the Expo bus. So, waiting on those mounts still. I said, screw it. I'm not going to let some stupid $10 part hold me up. I'm just going to work around it until they come. But engine and trans are coming out tonight. Going to prep the 3-rib down there to slide back in and get everything back together and finalize in the rear, because it's kind of a poop or get off the pot situation. Can't be sitting here just watching this thing do nothing. So really the only progress that's made is I knocked out this engine cover, just a piece of 20 gauge. I cut the size and then broke over the edges and then just ran it through the bead roller, stiffen it up, and then there's a piece of tube welded across the bottom, and then also welded this back into place. Just need to trim out around the edges a bit. So that's done. Also, while I'm throwing in the lift, I'm going to measure my clearances and see exactly how much lift is needed to make this work. So we're not lifting the sky. As you can see, this is where it hits, is the jack point, which those are getting lopped off anyhow because they're going to be useless with the way the bus is lifted. And it's going to have some nice Nerf bars welded on to protect the body and tied into some other support structure to make this a little safer going down the road too. So anyhow, big part of this rubbing right here, this jack point, and then it rubs a tiny bit on the dog leg. Front has a pretty good amount of room. I think I've decided on my beam situation, but I've gone back and forth so much that I don't want to say anything right now until I actually am decided. So got that figured out. So right now I'm going to measure and lift and determine exactly how much lift is needed to make these things clear. So right there we're sitting lifted 2 inches over stock, which, if you ask me, pretty good stance. It's hard to really determine, but gives it a good stance, I think. Sits up, looks a little more imposing than a stock bus without being stupid tall and top heavy. I mean, roof height is still reasonable, probably 7-ish feet. Might still fit in my other garage actually. And tire clearance is there, obviously. So the way these arms are, the wheel does go back a little bit as they go up, but I think right here, and also I'm thinking about pushing the beam forward. Give a little spoiler there, but when I do whatever with the beam, I'm going to, I think, push it forward about 1 inch, and that'll gain another inch back there, which would be tons of room. So 2 inches of lift seems to be dang near on the money. Back tires obviously are not going to have this camber because IRS is going on, but even like that, it's not horrible. A transmission drop with swing axle would probably work pretty sweet. So maybe questioning my judgment right now and going away from swing axle, but 'tis what it is. It's ready to slide out of here. I don't have very good light in here. The upper bolt on the starter, or I guess nut on the starter, is an absolute disaster to get out. Normally there's a bolt that slides further in the back and has a locking head that locks into the starter. In this situation, there's a stud that goes through, and then the bolt threads on, or the nut threads on, and there is zero clearance to get a socket on there. And combination wrench, forget about it. It's just too tight at the starter body. So I'm gonna have to look at that. I got it off, but I'm gonna have to look at that, and for future time, I'll pull it out, put it in, design something a little better, or find a nut with a smaller head. I guess this is 17 millimeter. It looks like it's probably a 13 millimeter. So anyhow, that's done. Have the Harbor Freight Jetta engine removal tool, which I mean literally is made exactly for this purpose, I think. So go ahead and rip this thing out of here. Alright, so with the engine back out, I'm using my handy dandy headlight here. Next up is transmission and axles. And we'll roll all of that out with the reduction boxes and all. I've kind of taken for granted that everyone is familiar with Volkswagens, and I've been saying I'm going to IRS swap this into the common mechanically inclined person with experience in engines and transmissions. This is in fact independent rear suspension, right? So with the Volkswagen world, this is called a swing axle transmission. So basically you just have a pivot up here, and then it's fixed down at the hub end. So as it travels through its arc, or through its travel, basically, you have an arc. So that's why we have all this camber, because there's just a pivot at the transmission end. One of the reasons why I want to put in the IRS, which basically IRS means that you have a CV joint at either end. So your camber can stay basically the same. The control arm's pulling in a touch, but it can stay basically the same through its travel, and the CV joints make up the differences in angle. So, quick little Volkswagen lesson for the non-Volkswagen people. The Volkswagen people are probably screaming at me because I said 97 things wrong, but it is what it is. So, next up, I'm going to disconnect everything and roll this complete assembly out of here.
You can get into
real quick before I slide it up in there. Here's a quick reason why I chose to go 3-rib, which this is actually the weakest of the larger bus transaxles, but this is the one I took out. This is the one that's going in. Old, new. You can see, I mean, the size difference between the two of these is substantial. Bigger ring of pinion in here. Lose these reduction boxes, which reduction boxes aren't a bad thing, but they will contribute to wheel hop, especially with the bigger tires and more horsepower. So all that's gone, and putting this much beefier trans in there that hopefully will hold up to whatever I throw at it. I'm not going to drive like an idiot, but still have a substantial power increase and way bigger tires. So that's the reason why I went to a 3-rib among others. Just one more time. Little, big. Little, big. Alright, I'm done being an idiot. Alright, so about 20 minutes later, the transmission is out. Pretty easy just to slide out of there. I think yet tonight I might go ahead and mock up the 3-rib just to see what I'm working with and what I need to fabricate, or if I need to order any further parts. So I can do that in the morning and get stuff coming. And then also get up in here, probably won't do it tonight, but get up in there and clean all this up and get it painted. And I need to get a battery box made and mount the fuel cell and get the fuel cell remote fill done, because that's where we're at. Need to make something work with that, get some light in there. So that all needs to happen as well. So go ahead and set the 3-rib up in there at least, get that knocked out and see how it looks. Alright, the bigger trans is up in place. Sorry, the lighting kind of stinks. I'm using the headlight here. I love that everything is full of stuff mice have carried into it. That's just great. So, there's not a ton of information out there about people swapping 3-ribs into split buses, and I think this is probably a big reason why, is because they don't fit really at all stock. But, for my purposes, fits really well. So I'm going to lop out this entire cross member, and both of these frame horns will be gone. And then, as I said, there'll be an engine support. Kind of thinking about making some kind of mid plate too, to grab onto transmission. And then, even better, is the nose cone, almost perfect to drop it. So dropping the transmission, and then everything will slide up in. I can just fabricate up a mount to hold the back, and I think we will be in the 3-rib split bus transmission business. So I know I said I was going to stop, but I think I might go ahead and just whack that cross member out of there yet tonight and see how it looks. And there we have the 3-rib in its approximate location. So that's lined up with the shift rod pretty much. I mean, height wise it is. I went ahead and used a digital level, or my digital protractor, to square up the face with that cross member so I could get it as square as possible to try to judge everything. Approximate drop about 2 inches. So actually achieved what I wanted to achieve with that. So not as bad a thing. The only real issue is that it's pushed back about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And my whole goal has been to clear, well, 2 things really. I guess with the lower transmission, I'll be able to clear that lip to install the engine. But I'm still concerned about deck lid clearance. I want the deck lid to close and not be cut out. Like, I want the bus to be as stock appearing as possible from the outside. Worst case, I can section the deck lid and push in the license plate area a little bit, and it won't be as noticeable. But that's where I'm at. So, other happy thing that happened is I'm glad that I didn't build this cross member motor mount, since everything is pushed back 2 inches and is lower. I would be redoing it. So that worked out pretty good. And back here looks like a pretty simple solution of just basically making a plate and adding a couple of rubber bushings to get the vibration out and to keep things from breaking. But pretty easy to build, it looks like. I think it's just gonna be like a flat plate is gonna bolt between the two of them. And then I'll sandwich some, I have some, like a sheet of polyurethane, I think would work really perfect to do that. So I think I'm going to call it a night, clean things up. It's about 1:30 a.m. I think, and we'll pick back up tomorrow with cleaning up everything, like I said, and getting everything painted. And maybe if I have time, strip out the bay trailing arms to go on here and see if they fit these torsions. If not, we're going to be slicing and dicing, making some parts there. So that's where we're at. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Had no intention of making a video tonight, but just came out to clean up the garage and it got the better of me. Not a bad thing. Progress is progress. If, every day I can just knock out, this isn't exactly a little thing, but knock out a little bit every day. That's how you keep moving forward on these things. You don't get stuck in project creep where something sits here for 6 months untouched. So even just pull a tape measure and sit and think about something for a little bit. It's more than you did the day before. So not trying to be a motivational speaker, just being a realist, because I've built a lot of cars and I've given up on a lot of builds before I kind of learned a good methodology to keep things rolling forward. So thanks for watching. Big milestone for me today. We hit 100 subscribers, which I know is not that big, but for me that's huge. So next goal is gonna be 1,000, and the rate that it's growing right now, I think that might actually be doable by the end of the year. And it's all thanks to you guys, the people that are liking, subscribing, and telling their friends. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed and you've made it this far, please do subscribe. I super appreciate it. When we get closer to 1,000, I'm working on doing some merchandise with a friend of mine. So that would be sweet, and we're going to give some stuff away, try to help grow the channel a little faster too. Also, I'm thinking overnight we're going to hit 1,000 followers on Instagram, which is also super awesome because, I mean, it's grown by almost 600 this week, which is just outrageous to me that that could happen. So thanks a lot. Thanks everybody who watches and does everything, and I'll be seeing you probably again tomorrow. Thanks. See ya.